John Oliver had some very pointed words from Mr. Elon Musk last night, so maybe we should address them. I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla Weekend. Yeah, let's get on with it. Here's the thing. John Oliver's a very smart guy. I had a couple of people message me and say, my gosh, should there be a lawsuit? Will there be a lawsuit? This has to cross into defamation, and it does not. See, mostly what was going on was Mr. John Oliver here was engaged in deception, but the normal kind, the normal media kind. If you've been following this channel at all, you know that I delve into the realm of media bias quite a bit, quite extensively. They were a lot of jokes about his style, about what he looks like, about how he acts. Jokes are not defamation, they're jokes. We're adults, we can get over it. There were jokes pointed at fans. No real jokes pointed at investors. Kind of hard to find jokes there. Jokes made at the expense of Cybertruck and those who would buy it. And there was some lazy stuff like, oh, the 2 million recalls. That's just lazy. He knows better, surely, but he's playing to the cheap seats. There are two things I know to be true. One is, if you bet against Elon, you will go broke. And the other is, you will never go broke if you make fun of Elon. There is fertile ground in telling idiots what they want to hear. And a lot of idiots don't like Elon. They really don't. John Oliver's very careful to keep his claims legit, to keep them legally defensible. So, for example, he didn't bring up the emerald mine. That's not a real thing. That's spurious at best. You're not going to get anywhere with that. Skip it. He did mention PayPal and how PayPal led to SpaceX, led to Tesla, and so on. And a lot of the big things that he said, he didn't say them. He used Elon's own words in some cases, and in other cases, the analysis of his words. There was a tweet which is cited as proof that Elon is anti-Semitic. I know a lot of people who are Jewish who would strongly disagree with that claim, but I've met a lot of people who would agree with that claim. I know Elon himself said in that New York Times interview that this was something he regrets. He regrets sending that tweet. I don't know. He didn't check the background of the person sending it. It was a mistake. I'm sure Elon hates plenty of people, but not wholesale as a group. I'm sure he has friends from every walk of life. I think that's reasonable to assume. So the one that annoyed me the most was the whole claim that SpaceX didn't start from square one. They took just established technology and made it a little bit better. No, they didn't. NASA open sourced their patents. They made them available to everyone, to you, to me, to Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos launched Blue Origin before SpaceX and funded it more aggressively. There was more money to fund Blue Origin than there was to fund SpaceX. They haven't made it to orbit yet. So money is not enough. Access to patents isn't enough. There is some secret sauce there. Starting a car company is nigh impossible, at least in the US. There are no new car companies that have reached mass production, unless you count the handful of thousands from Rivian and Lucid. It's rarefied air, and those companies are struggling mightily. So there's no lawsuit. There's no defamation. They just used his own words and the words of the media who is themselves biased. So, like at one point he said, he was pointing out, well, the factories are unsafe. See, here's some people saying so. And the problem with that is they're safer than other car factories. And they're always working to make them safer. There is a reward system for making your workplace safer. Maybe other companies have it, and it just doesn't work as well. So that's, crazy. I'm going to stop this. It's a bit distracting. So the 3 month, safety inspectors were locked out for 3 months Though I'd never heard that before. I had to look it up. You know what I found out? That's to inspect the sign on the outside of the former Twitter headquarters, now X. They wanted to inspect the sign. They weren't allowed to. And I don't know who it was that was trying to get in, but if it's OSHA, that's the wrong department. So I don't know. I don't know anything about that. But he made it sound like, without saying it, that he won't let inspectors in anywhere to any of his companies ever. And that's technically, I mean, you can make it sound that way without lying, but you're being very dishonest. Again, he's playing to the cheap seats. The absolute dummies are going to gobble this stuff up. And that's unfortunate because dummies will eat anything. That's why crayons are non-toxic. Then there's the whole thing about it's autopilot and it's self-driving, and call it what you want. It's never been either one. Well, I don't know how you don't know what autopilot means, but it's had a definition for about 100 years in aviation, and it doesn't mean walk away from the controls. It means you're still in control, but the machine is doing some of the work for you. That's what autopilot means. The full self-driving demo he showed, it says right on the screen, the car is doing everything. Yeah, it was. You saw it. Yeah, it was on a predetermined course, but that was, I mean, he said this is what's coming in the future, not what you can buy today. I mean, he's just showing what's on the screen and making a quick jab. It's not honest. It's unfortunate. John Oliver, a very smart guy, but he's smart enough to know what he's doing. The fact that he has such a fundamental misunderstanding of what beta is and how it works tells me that he's never had any firsthand experience with it. The clips he showed were from hit pieces. We know that. I'm surprised Clown O'Dan's segments didn't show up. That would have been pretty fitting. And then there's the factory closures during the shutdown. They were ordered to be closed and he didn't care about safety. There's context missing here, man. There's context. I took that very seriously. I was one of the first to take my kids out of school because there were deaths within like 15 miles of my house were the first deaths. So I had my kids out early. I take this very seriously. And I will tell you that this claim is so dishonest, it defies understanding. Every other car factory in the country had reopened. Every other county in California had reopened. There was one car factory and one county that was still saying, no, we need more time. We need more time. And he said, no way, no way. If this isn't targeted, it's so mind-bogglingly stupid that it's time to just make other plans. Tesla already had working corona protocols in Shanghai that were very effective, that did the job. They knew more about it than any of the other car companies who had already been reopened for some time. He knows better. You know better, John. You know better. I still love you, but my gosh, it calls into question the validity of a number of other things I've seen on your show. I used to love Wendover Productions until I saw how bafflingly wrong he was about these issues, and I realized, oh my God, I know this topic better than you. There is no way. I can't trust anything else you've said, and it breaks my heart a little. There was a part where they were talking in the White House press briefing room, and they were saying, why don't you stop him? John Oliver's making it sound like, well, we want to stop him, but we just can't. Our hands are tied because he's too powerful. No, that's not the reason. The reason is, why would you stop anyone? Yes, he's doing the things that the government probably should have done, but people don't like that much government. They don't want the government to own all the utilities and all the everything. They want things done without having to pay for the taxes. There's no taxes on this. Starlink is famously not even getting access to FCC money that they were promised or that they were able to bid on because the rules changed in the middle of the race. Very crazy. It's anti-freedom, saying that you should be able to strip someone of their companies because the companies were too good. That's insane. The reason you can't stop him is the same reason people can't come to your house and tell you to stop whatever business you have. It's none of my business. It's yours. The whole thing with Ukraine. Yeah, you saw the Ukraine soldiers loved what they were doing. And then you're making a big scene because he didn't turn on Starlink in Crimea. Elon and SpaceX are still beholden to international laws, and they were only allowed to put Starlink in as a defensive measure, not as an offensive measure. And Elon had even said, what am I supposed to do? Do I turn it on and become part of an offensive war? If that's what you want me to do, give me the permit and we'll do it, but don't make it my decision. The idea that Elon is pro-Putin is maybe the dumbest of the theories I've heard about Elon. And there are so many. It's such a long list, and this one's right at the top 3 for sure. Elon's SpaceX single-handedly dismantled the entire Russian commercial launch industry. It's gone. They used to be the world's payload provider, and now it is gone. Now he's coming for their next big thing, their number one export, fossil fuel. You think Putin loves him? You think they love each other? You think they have a good relationship? That is ludicrous. Well, we'll talk to you, but we have to make sure it's okay with SpaceX. Yeah, because they don't want you to divulge operational secrets that could jeopardize the satellites, the whole system. What are you talking about? If you ask a Pentagon official to speak with the press about the new tank, you should probably have the contractor sitting in who built it so that you don't say something that could reveal its vulnerabilities. And again, what John Oliver said was not completely untrue. It was just phrased in a way that would lead a reasonable person to an unreasonable and incorrect conclusion. So, yeah, Russia hates him. Russia hates him. I get it. John Oliver's an entertainer, but this was not entertaining. You're fueling the fire. You're going to make money on this. This is going to be a very successful video because, the anti-Elon, I was going to use some bad words there, but I won't. We'll just call them Gojos. Will glom onto it like it's their new toy. It's their favorite teat from which to suckle. Citing bad sources doesn't make the subject look bad. It makes the presenter look bad. John Oliver, John, what are you doing, man? And making fun of Elon's bad jokes? Of course you think they're bad jokes. You're a professional comedian. But I'm a professional analyst, and I can tell you that your analysis was wet trash. What did I miss? What did I misunderstand? Leave it all in the comments below. Stay tuned, stay juicy, all that good stuff. And if you like hearing about the ways in which the media is all messed up, I do have a tracker. It went public yesterday. You can see a glimpse of what we got.